All right, this is take 3 because the flies won't let me be great out here. But this is their world. So let me just get on into this so that I can make it through take 3 of this video. Hello, my name is Danielle Brooks, and this is Refreshing Words with Danielle Brooks. I am coming to you from San Miguel, Mexico, a town I'm sure you've heard about in the YouTube streets. It is a artist haven, and I am excited to be here, to take some time away from full-time work, to focus on rest and some creative pursuits, some writing, some dancing, some painting, all the things that I don't do or have not done in my normal day-to-day life over the last almost 55 years. I'm about to turn 55 in just, let me see, what is today's date? Your girl is about to turn 55 in, just by the end of this month, let's just say. It's coming right on up. I can't believe it. It goes by so fast when you get older. The years seem to fly by. But in this video, I want to just talk a little tiny bit about my preparation to take time off and what I have been doing for the last couple of weeks here in San Miguel. And I will continue to document my career break, my sabbatical, as you were. So if that is something that interests you, please hit the like button and subscribe. As I said, coming up to this, hopefully midpoint of life, right? Midlife that I'm in, maybe the last 3 to 5 years, I had just been feeling pretty exhausted from different things in my personal life, as well as, the collective world trauma after trauma that we have all experienced, whether it is from the economy to COVID to other, global traumatic events that have been happening. I began to just have a tiredness down in my bones, down in my soul, that really vacations, extra sleep, spa, it wasn't solving. And so when I was doing some research for my older daughter to take a gap year after high school, I came across a video from Stephanie Perry that many folks in our community and in this travel abroad space know very well. That was entitled Grown Up Gap Year. And that was probably the first seed that was planted that kind of gave me a little permission slip that this was something I could do, something that was an option for me. So I do have to give her credit for that. But at the time, I just filed it away because I was focused on my daughter. And, I will say as I got that child number 1 off and into college, and then child number 2 out of high school into college, I began to think more and more about what it would look like to take a break, what a grown-up gap year would look like for me. Part of that preparation was working closely with my therapist to just clear out and address all of the mental barriers that I had, and really helping me to frame and shape the life I wanted to lead. What would life be like if, and kind of filling in the blank and addressing all the things that came up, whether it was, you don't deserve this, who do you think you are? Those are the kinds of things that were playing in my mind, at least, particularly as someone who has done work as an HR professional for a couple of decades. And last year was brutal. I, delivered notices of folks losing their jobs, notices of reduction in force to our workforce. And it was very taxing emotionally. And it created an even bigger emotional barrier for me because I had so many friends looking for work, personal people, our employees, that I had to deliver that news that nobody ever wants to hear. And certainly, most HR professionals take no pleasure in delivering that kind of news. And so who was I to voluntarily walk away from a good job, as they say? And I struggled with that a little bit. And so I'm grateful for my therapist that helped me address and feel and move through those emotions, as well as some coaching that I got to help me with the transition to, release the things and delegate and, set my team up for success, and to leave my job with grace and dignity for myself, as well as, not burning a bridge and just being able to gracefully and lovingly walk away from a job that I really did enjoy, but I knew I was getting to a point that it was becoming something I just didn't want to do anymore. So while I got a certain level of satisfaction out of it, I really just did not want to be doing that kind of work anymore. The problems that we were facing, some of them were challenging and, really worked a part of my brain that was good. Others I felt like were not really real problems. And so, some of the internal things that HR professionals deal with, internal personality things and mediating between employees, I really got to the point where I just was like, there's real problems going on in the world. I don't want to be dealing with this. And so I didn't want to get to that point of no return where I just snapped on somebody or was not showing up in the way that was my best, and how I wanted to be as a professional in that space. So anyway, made the decision to resign. And like I said, not without a lot of thought and careful consideration and planning. Some of the planning obviously was financial. I'm not sitting up on a pile of money. I don't have, there's no rainbow with some kind of bucket of funds. But I did, really make some lifestyle choices over the last 18 months or so as I was thinking about, more clearly and time-wise making this move to where I was just saving and investing as much money as I could. I will also say I was making a very good living, and I, made a conscious effort not to let lifestyle creep happen along with that salary increase. I was maxing out my 403b, 401k equivalent, as well as many other investment vehicles. Along with that, really hardcore debt elimination on top of that, because I knew that would be something, debt I'm speaking of specifically, would have been something that probably would have, had me to say, okay, let me just work 6 more months, let me just work 1 more year. And it was very important for me to get the debt to a place where I could manage it within the budget that I had set up for this year or so that I plan to be out of the full-time workforce. So, those were, again, choices I made to maybe, I won't say I was living so drastic in terms of lifestyle, but certainly not continuing to increase my lifestyle as my income had increased. Another big factor that contributed to the timing of my ability to take a break was that my younger daughter went to college for a year and decided it wasn't quite for her. She took some time off and then, just realized that she wanted to just join the workforce for a while and that she may do college down the line. So that was a huge bill that I did not have. And I had been, I had a separate pot of money that I had been putting towards for her college education. So that definitely accelerated my timeline to be able to solidify my plan of action to leave the workforce. And I guess whatever else I will cover in this video is, people have asked me why San Miguel, why Mexico? And I will say I did a bit of travel over the last 2 years, much of it just for pleasure, because it's something I've always wanted to do. I joined the military for some travel. I'm an Army veteran, and I was sent to exotic places like Fort Hood, Texas, and Fort Campbell, Kentucky, but nothing overseas. And so I think during the pandemic, when the world was shut down, travel really became a priority for me. I was like, I don't care what is going on, I am going to travel this world. And, myself and my daughters, we got those passports up to date and we took off for some travel over the last few years. But part of that was, thinking about what do I like? Where would I like to spend some significant time, resting and reconnecting with my body and just reconnecting in creativity. And Latin America just jumped out as, the environment that spoke to me. I went to Ecuador for a while last year. I've been to a couple different places in Mexico. And from the time I walked to San Miguel, and many people have the same reaction, particularly in the Centro area, it really looks like a postcard. And I will just say, I feel very free here. I feel this childlike abandon here. The weather is very important to me as well. I am very hot-natured on top of, being at a certain phase of life. And so the weather here with the altitude is wonderful for me. It doesn't get super hot, nor does it get, freezing cold or anything. So that was important to me when I was narrowing down my choices. And likely the places you'll see me frequenting again and again. It'll be San Miguel, Cuenca, Ecuador, which is even a little cooler than here, which I love. I love that part of Ecuador. And Bogota, Colombia. Again, these are places, not your typical places for when you hear about folks going to these countries, but I found I'm not a beach girl. I'm a mountain girly. I'm a, mid-sized to large-sized city girl, close enough to nature, but certainly, again, the weather is paramount for me to not be too hot and definitely not out here freezing. So I love the eternal spring. But back to, see, there's the fly. There's the fly. I can't start again. We just gonna keep on going. Back to the postcard. It is like a postcard. It's beautiful here. The colors are amazing. And just for what I have survived, overcome, faced, and just gone through in life, I decided that I deserve to live inside of a postcard for a little while. And so that is just what I am doing. That is why I am here. The people are wonderful, the locals as well as there is an amazing community of Black immigrants in this city that are just, they're just some of the best people on the planet. And so as much as I am a homebody and a bookworm, when I want to come outside, I'm grateful that there are plenty of people who are, again, embracing and welcoming of me, and who just plan fabulous gatherings where it's just easy to get in where you fit in and have a good time, connecting with one another. Folks have shown me the ropes. You know, it's just been an awesome, easy, soft landing coming here. And so finally, we're out in this video, two things. I am staying at the beautiful Hacienda Elm here in San Miguel. It is a wonderful, just nature-filled respite with beautifully appointed rooms and just the most welcoming, hospitable hostess with the mostest, Michelle Wedderburn of Hacienda Elm, and as well as Casa Elm, her boutique hotel up a little closer, not in town, but a little closer to town than we are out here. It's just been a beautiful soft landing. There are a couple of wonderful ladies that are staying out here with me, like I said, showing me the ropes and sharing so much of their lessons learned and recommendations for, you know, the important things like getting your hair did and getting your nails done, which I've already gotten done since I've been here. Not to mention, I have already secured myself a beautiful loft apartment that I am moving into next month in June. And so again, super excited about everything with this transition to my career break. I am looking forward to sharing more with you, more of my escapades as I take some time away. And the final thing I want to say, I am like a true, actual Mexican lady. I was able to get my temporary residency extended. So now I've got 3 years, y'all, to be in Mexico fully, legally, all the right way. And I'm very excited about that. And so shout out to Sonia Diaz for all of her support in that arena. So yeah, your girl been busy. 2 weeks on the ground here. I done got my hair done, nails and toes, got an apartment, then took the bus to Querétaro. What? Been to the Mac store, because my computer, that's a whole nother story. A little bit of water damage. Computadora agua. No, I had to use my little baby Spanish, but I got it. I got it into the shop, and hopefully I will have it back soon. I was like, listen, tengo Apple Care. What do we need to do? I got the Apple Care, but they are taking very, very good care of me. So until the next video, I hope you are taking great care of yourself. And don't forget that it is not selfish to prioritize you and make sure your cup is full before you pour. Take care. Bye.